everyone. Happy Monday noontime greetings. Wow, I hope your weekend was marvelous. I'm loving the fact that we're coming into spring. I function so much better in the spring. I tend to go into hibernation November 1st, and I don't want to come out until March 1st. Today is a really interesting day. We've been talking about the universal laws, and today we're going to talk about the universal laws of vibration, because of course you have to understand that before you get to the law of attraction. But before we get started, I wanted to tell you, if you like our content, please hit the subscribe button and share it to people who you think might be interested. And if you want to be notified when we go live, hit the bell for me. Now, I entitled the talk Law of Vibration. Vibration plus frequency equals what makes you a better you. But before we get started, I'm going to draw a card because I think it's important that we start looking at our global paths. And I think it's really important that we start looking at what's happening in the world and why it's important, especially now, to start shifting our consciousness, shifting our vibration. I don't read with tarot. I do direct readings. A lot of people call it channeling, but I've been doing it for so many years that, channeling is just a fancy word that they use now, but it's not the true essence of what a true channeler does. But then again, I've studied and trained in a much different way. The card I picked today was the Star. So what that tells us with the Star is that it's important for us to look to see what's positive. It's really important that we bring that healing in that the nighttime brings. We go to sleep at night, we sleep, we rest, we recover. But the Star reminds us that there's always a promise of better times out there. And I want you to focus on that this week. I want you to focus on it. It doesn't really matter what's going on around us, but what goes on within. It matters more about keeping that focus of that light that we hold and that we want to share with others. So that's kind of where we're going. Keep that in mind today. Now, like I was saying earlier, we all know about the law of attraction, and the law of attraction has gotten so much press. I mean, everybody's read all the different books that offer the law of attraction. But the piece that's really not well emphasized is how come it works for some people and it doesn't work for others? And that's the vibration. Now, obviously, when we're working with the law of attraction, which we're going to go more in depth next week about how we can work with that, but let's really kind of focus on the law of vibration to get there first. Our vibration has to be in tune with what we're trying to attract. I really hate to use the word what we want, but more along the lines of what is plentiful for us to fulfill our destiny. The reason is because want implies a lack, that we don't have something. We all have money, even if it's 50 cents. We all have family, even if we're not speaking to them. We all have good days and we have bad days. But focusing on everything that we don't have, meaning I want more money, I want a better house, I want a different spouse, I want to get married, implies that it's out there. And I want you to start vibrating to make it where you have everything that is necessary for you to do your work here in this world today. I remember somebody asking me, speaking of, somebody asked me, Michelle, why didn't you ever get remarried? who was a friend of my ex-husband's, and I said, I've never found that person that I really wanted or I felt like I resonated with, that really understood me. It's not that I didn't have relationships, and it's not that I didn't have long-term commitments. It's that I never took that final step, and nor did I really think it was necessary. For me, I don't think, marriage is absolutely unnecessary, um, because I'm kind of that free spirit, which is why it was very hard for me. I was always one that thought I shouldn't have to tell somebody how to treat me, they should just automatically know, and so having those commitments that kept me locked into a situation that wasn't comfortable for me didn't work. And because my vibration was always upbeat and optimistic, and yes, I went through my own sad times, but it was always a little bit more in the positive flow so that I didn't need somebody to make my life better. I didn't even want somebody to make my life better. I needed me to make my life better, and I did so. So the want implies that there's something missing. So I didn't want somebody because I didn't have anything that was missing. If somebody actually showed up today that was the perfect fit, whether I'm married or not was immaterial. So what that has to deal with, and why we're talking about it in vibration, is the fact that having that vibration where it's a major focus will bring your vibration down, where you're not feeling as positive or powerful in your own individuality. So, our world, as we understand it, functions best if we know we attract what's best for us instead of what we want. I was laughing. I told somebody, if I had inherited $1 million when I was 18, would I be the same person? Oh, no. Heck it, no. I would have done things differently. I would have been different. It might have been a worse life. If I'd have been a billionaire's child, it might have been worse for me because I would have gotten wrapped up in that material world where I know that the life that I had was perfect for my destiny, obviously, because we follow our path if we're smart. Um, because what's important is the amount of growth that we attain in this life. That's much more important than what we want. However, it is the law that kicks off the law of attraction. And the reason is because we attract or we create those things which we vibrate to. Now, our vibration has a frequency. What that means, and it was hard for me when I first learned about all this stuff years and years ago, for me to understand the difference between vibration and frequency and what that really meant. So if my vibration's up, okay, I'm flowing and I'm doing and I'm moving and everything, my frequency is going to go sending that pulsing out. Boom, boom, boom. But the same thing holds true when we're in our negative flow. If we're not feeling good, it's like, oh, woe is me. I'm so miserable. My stomach aches. My head hurts. I mean, it still sends it out with a frequency. It might be a sluggish frequency. But our anger, if we have anger, it'll send it out much faster. It'll be like, oh, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy. Oh, I'm angry, I'm angry, I'm angry. And it just goes and goes and goes. And it just goes with energy. So the energy that we put behind it, coming from our vibration, creates the frequency in which it's sent out. Passion, love, happiness, joy, sorrow, grief, misery, fear, anger, all of those have a component that we can make the frequency, which is the turnaround, a lot faster. So we send it out faster, we get it back faster. We send here, we go there. So those are the things that we want to understand, the difference between vibration and frequency. It's basically the rate of the signal that we send out, the rate of our vibrational signal. And how we send it out is all predicated on how we choose to do it. So when we do this, we have to really be careful about what our fear is and what our PTSD, our anger, our frustrations, because we don't want to be trying to make something manifest, even though we will. Don't get me wrong. No matter that you're always creating your next moment. The moment you're in right now creates the next moment and content of your life. So everything that you're doing, you're making happen for 5 minutes from now, next week. These are the things that we think about. I remember my son was dating this woman, and she was so caught up in what was he doing that she was stalking the house. They were young, and I told her, I said, I think you're a terrific person, but you're 16 and you're stalking him. And that shows desperation. And that energy creates a negative response. So he didn't value her desperation the way she thought he should. See, I care about you. I'm always over circling your house. I'm spying on you. And he's like, you're intruding in my life. So those things happen because our vibration gets low. And of course, when you're a teenager, your vibrations go all over the place. It just is. That's part of the struggle with being going through puberty and in our teenage years. And we start creating from those teachings that we were taught when we were young and hold that vibration. So, when you're taught to sit still and listen in peace as a child who is taught to meditate, to sit still and be at peace, their vibration is going to be different. So what they draw to them might not look the same as what a 16-year-old horny boy is running around drawing to him. Believe me, it was an interesting journey. But if you think about it, the difference that we allow our vibration to be sent out is what we're creating through our balance. Now, when I talk about balance, I'm talking about things like, our mind. If our mind is, if you have ADHD or what they're calling neurodivergent, everybody likes to update the term so it sounds more acceptable, and I'm okay with that. But it gets confusing when you're not up on all the different terminology. So the thing is that we go through this and we forget that it's all about balance. Okay. So the balance of our physical existence, if we're not feeling good, then our mind thinks sluggishly and it forgets things. If you've been in an injury or you've got the flu, whatever illness or out of sync body physical issue you have, you may have cut your hand and that cut's very tender. And every time you go to write something or type something, it reminds you. So it makes you move with caution and frustration. So that's going to affect your vibration. All of these things that we don't understand. And understanding that in metaphysics, the physical world is understood by science. Okay. We understand that bacteria and viruses are probably the kingpin of the hierarchy on Earth, because it can take a bacteria infection or a virus can take down anything. And we've learned that especially through this pandemic. And a lot of people are holding fear with that. So when they hold those fears, it's their thoughts that is being affected. They don't even have to be sick. They just have to have the fear of being sick. That's going to affect your vibration. The anger at people created from those thoughts is going to be traumatizing you because you're mad that people don't deal with it the way you think they should deal with it. A lot of people are saying you should still be wearing masks. I don't even know these people, and they're coming up to me saying I should still be wearing a mask. And I'm going, but we're off the mask mandate, and I'm okay not wearing a mask. I'm not going to get COVID because I don't hold that vibration. I don't hold that. And I might later on down the road, something may change in my vibration and I might catch COVID, but I just don't think I'm going to get it. And it's not because I don't buy into the reality of it. It's because I don't get 10 days off in bed with no work. That's not me. I get stuff that irritates my body just enough to make me want to stay in bed for 10 days. But it doesn't really happen for me that way because that's the way my mind thinks. Now, our beliefs around that affect us as well. So if you believe something, like our beliefs or our emotions on how we approach things, that will throw off our vibration as well. A lot of people get really angry. There's a lot of legislation being written now that talk about beliefs from a dogmatic standpoint. This is what should be done. This is what I believe. You should do what I think you should do. You should deal with your life my way. We should have this. We should have that. And it's like, I don't quite understand what the concept of trying to bully me into an emotion that I don't own. And that's what our belief structures do for us. And it could be even a non-belief. You know, you don't have to have a belief in something greater than you to have your belief system. It's still, I'll put it this way. Religion is an ardent belief in something you hold to be true. So even atheism can be termed a religion. Now, that pisses off a lot of atheists when I say that, but, that's okay because I'm not the one that wrote the dictionary. I'm just the one that adheres to the finding of facts. Because the fact is, the dictionary says, anyway, so our belief is how we approach this. And that changes our vibration too. Our belief in what we are hoping to manifest, our belief in how we hope to see the world react to things that are happening around it, our belief, our want. It's like so many people are waiting for the train wreck. They're waiting for that time that we jump up and we come into our time and we want to learn the way we want to learn. And it's hard because our beliefs create our passion. And when I believe that something is going on well, fine, and good, then I can create from that vibration. But if I believe that the world's coming to an end, that we're going to have a financial crash in the future, that it doesn't matter if it happens. It's what energy I put to it that alters my vibration. A lot of people are predicting through astrological divination and through other levels of divination, this tumultuous time that we're going to go through in the next 3 years. If you believe that is going to be hard and rough going, and you're going to see all this pain and suffering, guess what? Your vibration just created it, and you're going to attract it to your doorstep. because you bought into it, because your vibration says this is what's going to happen. And it's like, okay, um, I can't stop you from doing it, but I'm here to offer you a different way of looking at it. I'm here to offer you a way to change that. So if we feel negatively on any level, that throws off our spiritual flow, our philosophies about life. Um, I remember somebody who's used to be a really good friend of mine at one time, went to high school with her. She was ran into her on social media later, on and on, you know, life like 10 years ago. And she was adamant against abortion. She paid for, and she told me this, she paid for a couple of friends to have abortions, but she was against it. So what do you think that that did to her philosophy? It's just convenient. It's a value that she places only for other people, not friends of hers. Um, so it does change when we feel negatively and we act that out. It changes our spiritual flow and it changes our vibration. And if we can hold our vibration steady, we can stabilize our frequency. So things come in that flow. We get into that waters of life where it's warm and it's flowing and everything is moving our way and out of our way. But we have to be willing to step in that spiritual flow and we have to bring balance to us. And this is our ultimate goal with our vibration. Um, I love people who place an emphasis on how we attract things to you, but they don't exactly tell you that it stems from your vibration. Lots of hints, but you can do it. So here you are. I had another friend. This is a funny story. She wrote down everything that she wanted in a man. She wrote it down: his looks, his eye color, his height, his weight, his financial structure of his life to equal hers, even to the car that this guy would drive. And she met this same guy, this guy. It's like she picked him out of the air. The one thing she neglected to put in that list was that he was single. So we can't think through all these things. We just, she had to let him go. He wasn't for her, but he did show up and he was perfect the way she envisioned him. But her vibration, in something in her, didn't say, I'm open to receive. So she brought to herself a married man, one that she couldn't receive. So we have to remember that our vibration is what we think about ourselves, whether we feel ourselves worthy, whether we feel ourselves empowered. Our vibration is all about what we feel and what we are consciously creating by our thoughts and our actions and our deeds. I wouldn't do a money ritual if I was living in fear of not being able to pay my bills, because then that energy would go out with fear. So I might get money in, but it'd go out real quick. And then I pat myself on the back because I would say, see, I manifested the money just in the nick of time so that I had it to pay everything that I needed to pay. And now I'm back to not having any. Instead of coming from a place, letting go of the fear and saying, you know what, I'm going to bring forth everything that it's going to be all right. Maybe, there's found money somewhere that maybe they forgot and had placed $1,000 in the top of their closet. And they, instead of worrying about where money was coming from, they cleaned the closet and found the $1,000. And there you go. We can't get in the way of how it comes to us. Okay. But we can affect our vibration so that it has an open doorway. Our physical form, is probably our weakest link. Okay. We all have our spiritual beliefs, but our physical world gets in the way of so much of this. So we have different ways of dealing with this. I remember, somebody once said, you have to really walk a clean life before you receive God's grace. And I'm thinking, no, because my belief is that we all have grace within us. We just don't activate it. We just don't own it as part of our vibration. And it's really important that we do this. So some of the things that can affect our vibration are things like family drama. Maybe when you were a child, there was a instance of severe PTSD that you haven't quite recovered from, a loss of a parent, or it could have been bullying in school, or it could have been, drug and alcohol abuse within the home. These things alter our vibrations. Accidents, illness, anything that throws the body off, as I said earlier, affects our vibration. And it's a theory that we have that we think that it's okay to go in, and we don't understand. So how do we alter our physical form so that our emotional body and our spiritual bodies are all in alignment? Well, meditation. Even if you take 5 minutes a day to sit down, quiet your mind, allow no distractions in it. You can even do a moving meditation type thing. It's a great time of the year. You're going to get out in the yard. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. It's a great time to do that. So why not get out there and say, okay, I'm going to get out and I'm going to take care of pulling some weeds or moving things. It's the act of emptying your mind of all else. Okay, it's meditation is allowing that doorway to open up to spirit so that they can get to you and they can guide you. It's really important. That's probably the primary vibration altar that I can offer you. A lot of people tell me they can't meditate. And I ask them, do you ever get lost in thought? Well, they're like, yeah. It's like, then you're meditating. Do you ever think of one thing and get so focused on doing it? You're meditating on that one thing. So it's important that we allow the doorway to meditation to bring us down a notch. We can do a meditation to heal our body. We can do a meditation to calm our mind, calm our fears. So, meditation being number one on the list. Nutrition is another. It's the second one on the list. Why is nutrition important? Well, if you don't have a good balance, your organ system isn't getting fulfilled, your blood runs sluggish, immune system is depressed. We all need something that we need to supply our body with good food. Now, that doesn't mean that we can't have a cookie for dessert, but we don't need 20 cookies for dessert. Somebody said one time, acupuncturist told me, if you touch right here before your ears, if you just touch and hold, it gets rid of sugar cravings. If you just hold it and kind of massage it for about a minute, it'll lessen your sugar cravings. So if you can use points to alter the body want of sugar, then that'll help your nutrition factor, or eating fruit and vegetables instead of heavy carbohydrates. we do need to remember that we need to bring our body into balance and give it enough to reproduce healthy cells. Um, what we forget is that our cells become a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy. And if we're not giving it good enough nutrition, that copy gets weaker and weaker. It's kind of like when you go to the copy machine and you have all the little dots because nobody's cleaned the screen, or it's scratched, and the copies are marred. And so then it has 1 or 2 dots. Okay, that's fine. And you do it again and again. And pretty soon there's 20 dots on your paper and your copy is kind of trashed. Well, that's how our cellular body works. We need to remember that. Sleep is another key factor. Now, people laugh at me, and that's okay because my circadian rhythms are mine. Um, I wake up anywhere between 3 and 4. Sometimes I wake up at midnight, I go back to sleep, but then again, could be the wind blowing, it could be all kinds of things, but sleep and doing a consistent sleep, going to bed at the same time that when your body's tired, you might not be tired till midnight, 2 in the morning, and then you sleep till 7 or 9 o'clock. If your work allows that freedom, then use it. Allow your sleep pattern to stabilize and be your sleep pattern. Exercise, getting movement. Do you know that we have 702 muscles in the body, depending, give or take, because some count is a little bit more, some of it's a little bit less. But the muscles are meant to be moving. So even if you're sitting there typing away, you're moving muscles. But take 5 minutes. I've got my alarm set to remind me to take a break, step away, walk away, do some movement, because it's important to keep our body active and moving. It's important for the strength and the core of the body. And yoga is one of the best exercises, just doing some yoga poses, because it massages and moves the internal organs. It's awesome. And swimming too. Now that we're coming into summer, if you're lucky enough to have a swimming pool, it's great exercise. So those are the things that can help you. Okay. And I'm going to say this in a way that I hope people understand. If you are having health issues, I don't care what it's from. I don't care if your blood work doesn't come back right. If you hope to be around and you're not willing to do things naturally, like you're not willing to give up the food, you're not willing to do the diet and exercise, and you're not willing to do allopathic medicine or naturopathic care or oriental medicine or Western or Eastern on any level, then what you're going to be looking at is you're going to have I don't feel good moments that shoot to the brain and spew out anger. They're going to spew out frustration because you can't think clear. Your body is not a clear channel for your good intentions, and your vibration is going to be challenged. And, it's okay here's what I want to do. This is my goal. When I die, I want to be that person that's just walking down the street and boop, I go over. I don't want to. I've spent the last 25 years going, I'm going to get my body right so that I can live healthy and happy till the end of time. Don't get me wrong. We all have our moments in time that we take a step back. And for me, when I was grieving my son, my physical body paid a horrible price because I didn't move. And I'm recovering from that now. But it was pretty intense for me. So I didn't move. I didn't do a lot of things. So grief affected my spiritual connections. Grief affected my health, and it affected my emotions, my belief system. Right now in this time, we're going to see a lot more people make that transition. And I'm not going to venture to tell you what I believe is the reason for it, other than to say that I think we're just tipping the scales. There's a lot of people are going, this is really rough and I'm leaving. And that's okay. That's free will. We can go when we need to go or when we complete our duties. But understand that our third chakra, which is our fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, is challenged. So it's like the third dimension chakra. That's what I call it. It's the third dimension chakra. It's that you've got to believe the way I believe, or the fear factor. It used to be the third chakra didn't get activated while we were walking around the world even when I was younger. If a twig snapped, I didn't freeze. If somebody walked in the room, I didn't panic, because you kind of understood the rules then. And I'm not saying that people with PTSD didn't have it, but the third chakra was our survival mechanism. Hey, something's coming through the woods to eat you. Run. So now it's, oh my God, I'm not going to have enough food on the table. Oh my God, I don't have the house payment. We live in constant drama. So settling that third chakra down is really going to go a long way in changing your vibration. A long way. So what I want you to do is I want you to just breathe in, breathe out, just do some relaxing breaths and breathe in white light. Let it go down to the solar plexus and let it just see your third chakra, see it ebb and flow. If it's this big, just try to breathe it down to its regular size. If it's all round up and like a little tiny ball, like little tiny, then breathe into it to expand it. Because one is not expressing enough where it's all tight and constricted, and the other one is expressing way more than you need to of fear and frustration and pain and anguish and whatever. So dealing with that, you can change that outlook. You can really change how that reacts. So that's what I want you to practice on doing this week. Remember that it's the star, tarot card of the star, that good things are coming. Good things are going to happen. And the other thing is what affects our vibration is listening to other people. Okay. So how many of you have people in your world that come in and everything they say is negative? Everything. It is so exhausting to listen to people who go, I hate this, I hate that, I hate when they do this, I hate mongers. Oh my gosh. I don't know that they actually hate that, but that word hate changes our vibration because it makes us kind of go into that fight, flight, or freeze and fawn scenario. It creates uncomfortableness in our vibration. Gossips. It says don't tell stories out of school. Have you ever been in that, what they call the telephone? It's the circle. We did it when we were kids. It was supposed to show us to quit talking about people. You start with a story. The first person starts the story. The brown fox came into town to get breakfast. And by the time that statement gets around to the other room, there is nothing that even sounds like it. Because our ears, we do have selective hearing. Maybe the person who said it too quick and the words kind of slurred together and it gave us a whole different word. So by the end of it, there wasn't one ounce of truth of the statement, the brown fox came into town to get lunch. There wasn't any part of that in that last statement. And we were like, wow, that was so cool. Let's do it again. Not understanding that we should be paying attention to this. So we shouldn't be going in. Have you ever walked into a room and you saw two people? You thought, oh, I'll go in and say hello. You walked into that room and they just shut up. So you knew that they were either talking about you or something they didn't want you to know. And do you remember the feeling that left you with? That, wow, I'm uncomfortable. Wow, That's really shocking. I don't know what to say to that. Well, understanding that, gossipers and people who make nasty statements about other people have a very low vibration. And it's not good. And we should all practice a better way of dealing with people. And we shouldn't make snap judgments when somebody's telling us, oh, golly, I really, I'm worried about my cousin Sue because her and her husband are getting a divorce. We don't offer in that bit, well, he's a jerk, or well, she's a slut. We shouldn't offer that because they're speaking from a place of compassion. We should have that same compassion for that person that they are exhibiting through to their cousin Sue. Um, and telling people, it's free will. What they do, they do. Just love them both through the process because there's no right or wrong. There is no right or wrong. As soon as we make a right or wrong, that too affects our vibration. As soon as we get involved in somebody else's, whether it's right or wrong, that changes our vibration. Now, the things that we watch, the things that we interact in. I do not watch the news anymore. It's been a while since I've watched the news because they say the same thing in news in the repeat. Oh my gosh. And it's always against somebody else. There's a lot of good out there in the world, but we can't see it because we're so busy telling the bad. And when I come back to this world, when I reincarnate, I want a better world. I don't want to go through this 3D stuff anymore. I've passed that concept. I'm working from a different level of frequency, and trying my best to stay there. So I don't want to have that fear and that hate brought back to my table every night before I go to bed. I used to tell my daughter, "Why are you watching boxing?" And she says, "Well, we really enjoy it." And I was asked to sponsor an MMA fighter. And I didn't know what MMA was, had no clue. And it still horrifies me. It still makes me want to just throw up a little in my mouth. I went in and I went into they were having MMA fights that night. And I walked in where the fights were going, and they were in rings, and I saw people pounding each other, and I saw blood and sweat flying, and I knew I couldn't do that. I couldn't sponsor anybody because if we don't like cockfighting, if we don't like dog fights, why are we going to human fights? I get good, healthy sports, tennis. They're not beating each other up. Golf, still competitive, not physically hurting each other, not attacking. That vibration is not there. I don't watch it. I don't play it. I rather go for a walk in the woods. That's me. Horse shows, perfectly great because the horse loves to exercise. Dog shows where the dogs are trained and they love. I had a dog who was very, very smart and she loved to be worked. These are all positive things that you can see positive results from and the beauty entailed. But for me, watching people pound on each other, it just didn't make sense. It made me violently ill. So obviously I left that night and never went back. So other things that affect our vibration is movies. Movies that obliterate, where it's nothing but blood and guts. Now, don't get me wrong, I watch some shows that have violence in it, but it's whether or not I'm seeing this humongous degree of violence where it's like I remember watching the old Westerns. When they got shot, they went, oh, 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 you never saw blood. I think it was the movie The Lawman. It was 13, 14, I think, somewhere in there. And I went into the movies with my sister to watch this movie, and it was the first time I saw the result of a bullet. my grandfather hunted, my dad hunted, girls were not allowed. So anyway, this guy was shot in the back and blood spewed out his mouth, and I got up. I said, "I'm done. That was horrifying for me. That was too intense for me. Even The Blob, the horror movie The Blob from the 50s did not show the deterioration of what it was consuming. So, we never saw dead bodies, and so it led a little to my naivete, but it didn't affect my vibration like some of them do today. So that things like Machiavellian strategies where you have to take power and control and we win at all costs, that's a dangerous thing. It matters in our vibration. And we anchor that into our 3D mentality and we keep our vibration and frequency to that level. Why? Why? Why do we want to win over somebody else? Why are we so angry at somebody else because we failed to step up and be accountable? These are the things that alter our vibration. These are the things that you have to shift in consciousness in order to work with the law of attraction. So this week, I want you to really think about what you can do to alter your vibration, what little areas. Please leave notes in the comments if you have questions or you want to know about certain things. Please feel free. I'm happy to answer anything in the comments. And be very happy to do so. Just as an update today, I want to give people a little idea about what's going on. The things that are upcoming this week, we've got Donna of Dominion Tarot. She's live in the Facebook group Resonant Essentials. She'll be doing live readings tomorrow at noon Mountain Time. And Brother Francis will be live on YouTube doing Wisdom Keys on Thursday at 1 p.m. And this week we have a special. I'm going to be with Audrey Wilson, hell of a medium, really great medium. She's doing some new work and she's going to be live in the Facebook group, Resonant Essentials. And she's going to show you, for those of you who may be blocked, maybe not listening, or can't hear your spirit teachers as well, she's going to show you, using me as the subject, and we'll post it here on the YouTube channel, how she reads for you to get the information from your spirit team that maybe you're not listening to or maybe you can't hear. Okay, so she'll be doing that on Thursday, 12 noon. She's in the UK. That was when our schedule best fit. So we'll probably be ending just in time for Brother Francis to be beginning. I'm going to leave you with this because this also goes with vibration. Gandhi had said this: keep your thoughts positive because your thoughts become your words. Keep your words positive because your words become your behavior. Keep your behavior positive because your behavior becomes your values. Keep your values positive because your values become your destiny. Now, with that being said, I'm going to change this last little bit to be vibration. Keep your behavior positive because your behavior becomes your vibration. Keep your vibration positive because your vibration becomes your destiny. So with that, I will wish you all a very happy week. And I will see you next Monday, and we'll be talking about the law of attraction. My heart to all of yours. Mwah. Bye for now.